Alright guys, welcome back to the Lauren T podcast. Today we're doing another Spider-Man cover ranking. This time it's volume 6, coming right off the heels of the conclusion to volume 5, which I believe we finished last time I did a solo video. Today I'm joined by coffee, not tea once again, but it's adjacent too. And we're just going to get right into it. I'll have the bigger versions of the covers flash up on screen so you can see what I'm talking about. And I, of course, have them on a different screen as well, or right here on my screen blown up bigger for me to view as well so we can actually get the details of these things. Anyway, we're going to start right off with cover 1. Now, here's the thing, guys. This is a very different kind of tier list compared to the one I did like last time and the time before, because I had a very strong emotional attachment and detachment to each of them. The beginning of Volume 5, the whole Kindred Saga Nick Spencer arc, I very much loved the story of that run and the contents, the writing, everything about it, right? So that was very connective to me. But as I went through, I noticed not a lot of the covers were ranking all that high. And then the next one was the Beyond arc, which, while I voiced my opinions on why that shouldn't be in Volume 5 last time, but it is a part of Volume 5. Anyway, I just didn't like that one at all. I think it suffered a lot from, coming off the heels of something so great. But a lot of the art was kind of lackluster there too. This one is one of my least favorite Spider-Man comic book runs that I have personally read. Like, as a whole, there are definitely worse storylines and story arcs than this, but as a whole run, it's like 70 issues or something. This is probably my least favorite that I've read in full. However, the cover art on this kind of slaps. Like, I was previewing a lot of these covers before I turned on the camera here, and I think this is going to be a pretty high-ranking list that we have here going through. All that being said, we have the first cover. This one's just standard. There's nothing overtly wrong with it, nothing spectacular, right? This was happening around the 60th anniversary. You can see the 60 years sticker there. Actually, something interesting is in current day, we're coming up on the 1000th issue of Spider-Man pretty soon here, so that'll be interesting to see what they do with all that. But yeah, this I feel like is just a solid C, right? And I've explained this before, right? S, it means like perfect, absolutely amazing, above and beyond. A means I really, really like it. B means good. C is like a true neutral. D is I tend towards not liking it, and F is I hate it. But this cover is a very good precedent setter for what types of covers will be in C, because it's pretty, like, it just spotlights Spider-Man in the city. Nothing crazy about the art, but also nothing that, I feel like I can reasonably complain about and have the complaints be actually valid. So yeah, I feel like that's a great, like, I guess, precedent, like I said, for C. This next cover, we have a pretty simple background with just, the blue, but it really works for what's happening, especially with the shadows cast on the ground there. Shows a separation between Spider-Man and MJ, which is a huge plot point of the series. A lot of the mystery setting up was all the events that led to their separation, because, they were happily together at the end of the Nick Spencer arc, which is the way, it's, so it was the whole point of the Nick Spencer saga, and for this to happen right after really left a bad taste in my mouth. For the power couple here to break up immediately after Nick Spencer spent like his entire run proving why they were great together. So I don't know, it just felt almost disingenuous to what just happened. Like, I understand the endless cycle that comic books need to be on, but having this happen so soon after the conclusion to the Kindred saga felt really strange to me. But that aside, I think this cover is pretty good. I really like, it's representational. What it's meaning to say is pretty obvious. And it leaves a little sad note. Honestly, I like it. I'm leaning between A or B. I think I'm gonna give it a solid B though, just because, looking down below, I feel like I see a lot of A's that don't quite make it to S, but I do like significantly better than that one. So the list could evolve and grow as we go along, because I do try to order it within a specific order within each tier too, so I can have like a worst to best list by the end. But yeah, so we'll see how things change and evolve as we go. Number 3, we have Tombstone ripping apart the mask here, the bloodied knuckles, presumably Spider-Man's blood. I think this is another C tier. Once again, it falls into that thing where, like, you're pretty doubtful that Tombstone is actually going to, do Spider-Man in, but the cover gets the job done, I guess, gets the job done. This one I don't really like. I'm hypercritical of all the covers that feature a lot of characters I have no really attachment to, and this group of characters holding on to Spider-Man here certainly represent a lot that I do not really care about. However, there's nothing like truly awful about this, so it's just gonna go D, saved from F, but lowest that we have so far. Next we have just a classic fight with Spider-Man and Tombstone. I think this is a pretty solid C. I'm not crazy about anything happening, but it showcases what the action you're gonna get, and yeah, probably a C, probably top of C right now. The 900th issue here. I feel like this is another C tier right off the bat. Just kind of shows, the Sinister Six vibes. I'll put it at the top too. I feel like we just keep getting better iterations of the C tier ranking. But yeah, it feels a lot like the early Nick Spencer arc runs that I say that it's like all right. It just features kind of a bunch of villains on the cover with Spider-Man in there as well. Yeah, fine for C tier. Next one. Okay, so a lot what that was happening with this had directly to do with Spider-Man and Norman Osborn, and the whole new status of Norman being like a pseudo good guy, right? And this cover, yeah, it's fine. I'll put it in C again. Keep stacking on C. It is just Norman holding a Spider-Man mask, but it's cool, right? Um, if you didn't know what's going on in the series, it low-key might be cooler because it'll be really confusing. But yeah, knowing what's going on in the series, he helped design a suit, which we're actually going to see showcased right now in the next cover. This one's interesting. So, this is sort of the beginning of the Spider Goblin thing that happened, which was probably the most interesting thing that happened in this arc, but I still didn't think was executed that well. However, seeing Spider-Man on like what looks like an Oscorp glider, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna put it in B, up with the other one that we also thought was pretty good. Next one, I believe I don't like that much if I can recall. Yeah, Spider-Man and Wolverine. Not a Wolverine guy, you can barely see who they're facing. Dialogue is fine, but probably a D. Probably just a solid D. Alright, this cover had me very intrigued when I first saw it because, sort of the two characters that never ever come back are Gwen and Uncle Ben, right? So this was happening during the Judgment Day little storyline too. That was basically a tie-in to a different like global event that was going on, and so like a team series, I believe, was it Eternals? I forget. Something was going on with it, with some different group of people. And anyway, part of Spider-Man's like judgment analysis was the person that was watching him was like Gwen. And obviously it wasn't real Gwen, but I feel it could communicate some like real Gwen feelings to my understanding or whatever. So it was sort of like you're talking to like a mirage of Gwen, right? It was pretty good stuff actually. Probably one of my favorite issues of this entire arc. And the cover really, the style of the people aren't my favorite style, but it's also not bad at all. It really gets you thinking though, so I'm gonna throw it right up to top of B or A. I'll do top of B because the cover just gets you on a start, but it's not actually fantastic. It just like, yeah, it really makes you want to read the issue, I guess, is what I'm saying. Now a Hobgoblin mask. So yeah, this is another weird thing. We're not gonna get into it because we're not here to talk lore, but yeah, this gets the job done. I'd say a solid C tier. Just the mask showcases the villain. What more could what more could you want? Well, clearly more because I end up in C, but you can't really hate it. Then Hobgoblin versus Spider-Man. I think this is another C tier, for similar reasons that what I said about him fighting Tombstone. Just an altercation of the villain, but fine. Next up. Ooh. Okay. So this is really weird because it almost parallels the issue after Gwen Stacy died, right? Except this time Spider-Man's like cradling Norman Osborn in his arms on a different iteration of a goblin identity attacks. It's really strange. One thing I will say, I complained a lot about the story like contents of this arc. One thing I will say is they do make you really put the Spider-Man story out of its comfort zones with the character roles. Anyway, I think this is a cool one. I'm gonna put it in B. I just think it really it parallels, right? The parallels in it. Chasm, the beginning of the Dark Web, one of the most disappointing Spider-Man arcs I've ever laid eyes on. I'm not crazy about the Chasm costume, but it is pretty good. I think I liked it better when I first saw it, but as time has gone on, I like it less. It's gonna be C because it's just featuring Chasm. I'll put it almost top of C, one below because it's fine. It's just Chasm, and I'm not crazy about the Chasm character. Spider-Man versus Venom. Okay, I do think some of these dark web covers get pretty good. I think this is a solid B. I love seeing Venom appear in a Spider-Man cover. I love the fight that's happening here. Put it in B. Chasm versus Spider-Man. I said this last time. I have an affinity for Spider versus Spider covers. Which even though this isn't a crazy cover, I think that alone, it plays to a concept I really like. So I'm also putting that in a pretty decent, like mid to decent B. Now this next cover I actually really like, even though it's simple in concept. We just have Spider-Man here, but look, he's beat up. He's surrounded by like those cool, thick-looking, spiraling web strands, and his costume's beaten and battered. And I really like just the art style that's done here. It almost looks like retro, but also current. It's kind of like a blend of both. I'm really tempted to put this in A. When all these dark web covers are together, by the way, too, they look really good, like as a set. I really like this one, but can it beat the ones I have in B? Like, I'm just thinking logically here. I really like it, but I think conceptually, it can't surpass B, just because B plays some really good concepts. I'm gonna put it top of B though, because I really like the aesthetic of it. Dark Web, with the marketing for it was really good. The actual story was really bad. Just if you ever want to read that and see for yourself. This one, I do not care for this one at all. This is like a flop for the Dark Webs, the covers. Fighting like a weird bug thing. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like this. The villain he's fighting is ugly. D tier. It's still Dark Web though, so it has the cool background, so I'll put it top of D. Spider-Man Black Cat fighting. I don't know, it's fine. For some reason, covers that Black Cat ends up on, I usually dislike for whatever reason. So this will go D. I'm not. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. For Black Cat just keeps getting a bad rap on these covers or whatever. Except for this one, I actually really like this one. If you know anything I've said about Pokemon, I love ice types because I love the aesthetic. And this here we have them like getting buried in snow and like a blizzard on a mountainside. Oh, oh, bless me. Yeah, and I just really like, you know, them. This is sort of like a couples retreat thing they were doing too, on a double date situation. MJ and her guy. Very weird time to be a Spider-Man fan during this series, but yeah, I like the aesthetic of it quite a bit, so I'm gonna put it in B. Honestly, 1 from the top. That's how good the aesthetic is. The concept and the others are cooler, but I really like the ice aesthetic. All right. At this point in the series, this is when we're finally starting to get information of the big like underlying mystery. Like, what did Peter do? What did you know, led to them, MJ and Peter breaking up, to all this mess? The answers are pretty lackluster, but you know, this gets you hyped for it. It's I don't really like the faces all that much. I'll put it in C, probably top of C though. It does set up a perilous scenario that makes you wonder, so pretty good. All right, now we got. Ooh, okay, so this one is where we learn some really interesting information about the whole thing. Well, interesting relative to the rest of the arc. But yeah, the creature thing biting down. Technically, we're supposed to recognize this. I don't think I read the original story where this came from. I actually do want to make it my mission to read through every single like mainline Spider-Man comic. So maybe we'll get some videos dissecting the story as I do that. But yeah, this guy biting through Spider-Man's mask. It's pretty haunting, pretty good. I'll put it in B. I'll put it pretty high in B too. Yeah, right there next to the snow one. It's not that pleasing to the eye to look at, but it is. It distills that. Am I using the word distills right? It emanates that feeling of dread that you need sometimes in a cover. So yeah. This one, okay. So seeing Spider-Man to the Fantastic Four is always a little homey because his first issue showcased him with the Fantastic Four. It's perfectly fine. That's something I get crazy about. See, yeah, we'll just give it a solid C. I feel like that's fair. Norman Osborn helping Peter design the suits. You know, It's fine. Again, I feel like a lot of these are ending up just being fine. Um, but sometimes it's just the way it goes. I feel like I like it a lot better than most of them in C. I'll put it second to the top because it gives off the same vibes as the Norman holding the mask thing that I was talking about. This next one's actually really good. MJ, her hair sort of like fades into the background of the comic. Inspiring, so it and look, the face and like the setup is so perfect too. She looks like an edge of anger, but the whole thing together gives like an edge of sadness. I don't know. Somehow it does. It does both really well. It sort of reminds me of the Spider-Man Blue series too, which is very somber kind of tone. Yeah, this might be our first A. I think it is. Right up to A. I really like that. It feels like it exudes exactly the emotions it's trying to exude. This one I don't really like. It's paralleling the one where Gwen died, and it's like the, like, you know, the person that ends up dying is like it anticlimactic if you're a Spider-Man fan because they don't matter to a lot of the Spider-Man lore almost ever, and then they come back really soon after anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I like the parallel, but it doesn't do it for me because the story's so bad. I try not to hold the story against it, so I'm putting it in C. I really don't like this, but the story is influencing my decision a lot. I can say this next cover is hideous, dude. The Doc Ock covers have not been hitting the past few years. This is straight to F. This is ugly. I don't even have to explain that one. I feel like you can see how ugly it is. Same thing with the next one. Doc Ock is so ugly these days, dude. It makes me not even take the guy seriously because he's just goofy. It's like MODOK in the Ant-Man Quantumania. I cannot even enjoy the guy. He looks so weird. Ooh. I like this. Spider-Man crawling through the webs. This has this classic feel, almost like, what isn't his name? Todd McFarlane? Wait. Am I thinking of the right person? Let me look it up. Yeah, Todd McFarlane. Um, it sort of gives off that vibe. I know it's not by him, but it feels reminiscent of his work to me for whatever reason. But yeah, I like this a lot. I think it has to go to A. It's so classic Spider-Man, and I know it's simple, but it exudes an aura, you know? I have to say it. Right back to garbage. How many terrible Doc Ock covers can we get? My word. F. They just get worse every time we see him. Alright. Spider-Man, bunch of guns trained on him. It's alright. Yeah. C, D. It's not that good. The coloring in the background is, you know, not that good. The situation isn't perilous enough for it to elicit strong emotions in me. Kraven and Queen Goblin. I like the thing up top. I don't like the rest of the cover that much. Everything sort of just looks tacked on without really interacting with each other. Go D again. Somewhere around there. Alright, interesting. So I like how he's in the black suit because a lot of the times, I think starting with Kraven's Last Hunt, Spider-Man and Kraven the Hunter, it's often synonymous with Spider-Man being in his black suit from then on. So I like the call to that. C though. I think C is fitting. I'll put it pretty high up in C too compared to all the stuff we have in there. This next cover is pretty good. Like a fractured, like I love the fracture thing going on. Half of it's Spider-Man, half of the Goblin. Classic comic book device to show a contrast. Contrast and parallel at the same time, right? So probably B. I don't like looking at it as a lot of these other covers, so I'll probably chill the bottom of B. But I think it makes it just into the realm of B. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like the Spider-Goblin thing could have been done way better in every facet, both writing and art. Kinda makes me upset that we wasted what was such a monumental, like, theoretically, such a monumental story arc on the way it played out. I don't like the art that much. We're going C. You know, I can't hate it that bad. I just feel like I should love it, and I only feel neutral about it. This one's pretty good. This feels like something you would have seen in the Kindred arc, actually. I like this. It's like haunting in a spiritual sort of way almost. It's weird to explain. Going B. Put it up pretty good in B too, actually. It'll it'll go right here. Yeah, it goes the distance pretty good. Yeah. Oh, Rec Rap, dude. F. Rec Rap is ugly and he only beats Doc Ock, but he is stupid, dude. Ah, this arc, man, this arc. I, what is happening here? I forget. I really genuinely forget what this cover is supposed to convey. It's ugly. I don't like it that much, but it's a leg up from the others, so I'll go bottom of D. To express I don't like it, but to show I like it better than the ones in F. I think some of these may have gotten out of order when I sorted them, just the way the computer sorts them. So you have to forgive me if some of them are indeed out of order. They may or may not be. Now we have Gang War. Again, I'm not interested in She-Hulk. I don't really like the aesthetic of her in general. The rest are fine, but they, uh, the Gang War element I've seen, like, I feel like Spectacular Spider-Man did it really good. And I've been kind of checked out of the Gang War arc of Spider-Man ever since, so this didn't get me that excited. I'll put it D. I'll put it a solid D, though. It's fine. Spider-Man Tombstone, it's alright. Probably a D, though. I don't really like the looks of it. The orange backgrounds get me, I feel like. I feel like a common thread here. It's sorry if my voice sounds weird, I am fighting a cold right now, but yeah, I feel like a common background for me, or like common through line for me, is just putting orange background things in like the low tiers. All right, hey, moving on. Ugly. Kingpin and his girl here, both ugly. Going to D. Yeah, this is interesting. It's like an evil beetle sort of thing. Forget a lot about the story arc. It's pretty forgettable to me. It's okay though. I like the Spider-Man style. It'll probably hit C just because it's I feel like it's serviceable, like the others we have at C. I like it right there. I like this one because it's cumulative. That's always cool. Showing two sides feels like Civil War vibes. I'll put it C. Right, kind of next to its other one. It feels similar for me. This next one, it's not even drawn bad, and I like the reflection. Like I love doing reflections in art, but I don't really like the covers nonetheless. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say. I feel like the gold color, the shape of the face, I don't know. It just, once again, aesthetic matters a lot to me. It's just not that aesthetically pleasing. So we'll go to D. I do want to mention that's better than some of the bottom ones in D though, so I'll bump it up a bit. You know what? I think I'll bump up this one too. I was being too hard on it because I don't like the wasted parallel, but it is pretty cool due to that still. So it'll chill at top of D. Ooh, this next one though, actually excited about this. This is good. Spider-Man in the Rain, broken mask, dude. It's like dark at night. You can see he's beaten. He's holding on to the thing. This is really good. This is really good, actually. This feels like everything I love about the Ice one, but more personal to Spider-Man and with Rain, which, thanks to the movies, has become pretty synonymous with Spider-Man as well. I'm going to put it top of A. I feel like top of A. It maybe might go S. It's tempting me to put an S. We'll see how everything lands. I might bump it up later. Electro, I feel like he's standing almost to face the audience, not as though he's fighting Spider-Man, which really ticks me off about this one. D. Chasm and his girlfriend. I forget what her villain name is, but this is pretty good. In the Rain, you've got the classic chasm coloring going on for the logo. It's pretty nice. I'll put that up in A. Probably right next to the other chasm fight. Pretty good. This one follows my rule of generally liking Spider vs. Spider covers, but I feel like for them falling and fighting, this looks so still. I'm not an artist, so I can't fully explain, but the way Spider-Man's leg and hip are just looks weird. Their positioning as they're falling, just it feels like it's a very still image, not a dynamic one. So it'll go D, which is sort of breaking pattern of what I like out of Spider-Man covers a little bit. I understand, but I think it needs to go D for fairness. For my opinion, fairness, right? This one's pretty cool in concept. I mean, I didn't really like Blood Hunt. I didn't care for it at all. Kind of a separate thing, but I like the red. I like the rain. Again, the rain really adds a lot. It'll go a C. Probably bottom of C because I don't really like it that much. I really wish they would stop doing like Green Goblin backgrounds like their classic covers. Like the white here is so outdated. Like the way, well, not like it's literally outdated, but the style. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look dynamic once again. So it'll probably go D. A lot higher than a lot of the D weirdness I have. I usually like when they do this, however, once again, they drew the villains really ugly and or picked ugly villains, so this dissuades me from liking it quite a bit. It'll probably go D as well, but higher D because I really like what they did with the mask. Put it really almost top of B, top 3. Okay, let me find it. Yep, again, we have the goblin thing, which, you know, aka missed potential, right? It'll go D because it's just him. It feels like, honestly, like the Spider-Man 300 cover, but with a goblin instead of, like, Venom or the Black Spider-Man suit or something. However that went. Yeah, so it goes in D. It goes in D. It goes pretty low in D as well. It probably goes one step below Golden Mask Lady. Next one I feel similar about. It feels sort of the same to me, just the added characters. I'm gonna put it in the same spot. One step behind it though, because I don't really like the added characters. The whole Spider Goblin thing. I like the Spider Goblin fight in Green Goblin. That's sort of like a variation of the Spider on Spider thing I like. It's just not that good. I hate the drawing of Spider Goblin, I think is the main problem. So I'm gonna, like, it's like the Doc Ock syndrome thing where I'm automatically gonna dislike any cover they appear on just because of that. But yeah, this will go D. Right with the others. Probably right above some though. Because it is cool conceptually. Spider-Man saving a woman and it looks like her kid's here from a falling like building. That's pretty cool. It's pretty baller actually. I really like those classic heroism ones. Probably go good B. Just showcasing Spider-Man's heroism in day-to-day stuff. I like it. It'll go B. We have Tombstone beating up Peter here, which makes you think that he might know the identity and whatnot, which I'm pretty sure that wasn't the case. Again, I forgot a lot of this boring arc. I keep dunking on this arc, but I have to. I really did not like it that much. Yeah, just a brawl between like a guy and a white. A guy and a bleached guy. But yeah, we'll put him in D. It's pretty average. Yeah, Spider-Man talking to Tombstone in jail. Straightforward. C. No. C. Yeah, bottom of C works. Again, I love this one for the same reasons I love the other Rain one. This one? This one actually sort of reminds me of the Beyond one where he's standing there in that water container thing. He's holding his head of spiders going around him. Reminiscent of that. Love the lightning and the rain though. This one, now that I'm thinking about it, I think that has to be S tier when I'm looking at everything else. That one I first went S tier, and this one, both going to S tier. They feel such atmospheric vibes exuding from them at all times, especially for the Spider-Man series. Those had to get bumped up to S. Yeah, I mean, this one's alright. Just the guy smashing Spider-Man out of window. Really not worried. I'll go straight to D. Where in D? Above some of the goobers in the back. But I won't let it be Goblin any. Like, for real. Alright. Yeah. This next one's good. I like it a lot, but again, no rain, so it can't be S. But I think this is A. See, this arc seems to excel at doing just Spider-Man images with him by himself. And since I moved those up, I think I am going to move these up down here as well. Just because I feel like they better reflect my current state of mind now that everything has shifted up a little bit. Yeah, Really like this so far. Doctor Doom. I've said it before. Don't like Doctor Doom and Spider-Man comic. Oh, we're on the eight Deaths of Spider-Man thing again. I don't know why the series didn't just end with the last one. You know, but here we are. I guess it's a transitionary thing for the new authors. I don't know. Pretty weird. I don't like Doctor Doom and Spider-Man covers. I'll put it in F, but above everyone else in F because it does not deserve to be that. Does not deserve to be among this heap, but that's what we have in F, and I think it does deserve to be in F. There's just more insultive flares of F, and that's some of these already down there. This new like half magic Spider-Man suit thing was weird, but I guess I liked the gimmick for the arc. It feels like something you would have been able to collect in Spider-Man Unlimited from like a lucky drop years and years ago. But yeah, I will put him in C. I know somebody will absolutely love him, so that's gonna be weird, but yeah, I'll put him over the first one, but not over anything else because it has no real representational value besides just being what it literally is. So just showcasing him again, this time people around him, I feel like it's objectively a little better, but it's not that good. Um, Probably D again. Man, D's really filling up. I was excited about this cover list going in, but I forgot how critical I am when I actually get started. D should probably have ended here. Alright, let's see what's next. Yeah, I mean, Spider-Man acquiring these weird tentacle arms or like fighting them off. Pretty traumatizing of a thing. I'm trying to think what would I want to rate this. I had to do something, so that cut might be a little weird there. Wait, where were we? Issue 64? Oh yeah, this is during the whole 8 deaths thing. Where do I want this one? It's okay. I don't like the suit, but also the suit is so impermanent. I don't want to hang it over its head too much. I also have the wrong one up there for some reason. It'll go D, but like a high D, I think. Seeing all the other stuff happen D. Seems a fitting location to be in high D with many others. This run is actually not scoring as high as I thought. When you look at something like the A, B, and even like S, A, and even B tiers together, it looks like a really good collection here. But altogether, yeah, I'm not crazy about a lot of these after all. They're all just so not bad, most of them. Except for those F tier guys, but we don't talk about those. This one, again, feels like a pretty classic Spider-Man art. I forget what exactly. I feel like this is paralleling a classic issue cover. I know it is, and I just can't think of it right now. It's off the tip of my tongue. But anyway, points for that again. I like how when like the extended cast gets shown in a creative way on the cover, so I do like that a lot. Yeah, I think it'll go C. It'll go C. Mid C, right? Mid C. Feels pretty good. I'll put it one rung below the Spider Goblin thing, because while I didn't fully like the aesthetic of that, it was something we hadn't really seen before, so I do appreciate for that. This one's creepy, but it's almost too obviously creepy, with half the Spider-Man mask gone to reveal like a traditional human skull. It's very fitting on the theme, and you know, I especially noticed the row of gravestones above this one, more so than I did some of the other covers. So I like this. C again. I think it'll go right around to the other one, actually. One step below it, I'd say. But yeah, decent cover, decent cover. I always like when they pull off tricks with the Spider-Man mask. That's a fun little thing to do. Because a lot of this, guys, for the rankings, is when I really like sit back and think of how much do I like to just look at this? Because I'm a collector, so I love just going through and looking at my stash. So even though some of these, like a lot of them aren't even that bad, you might even think they're pretty good. They might be covers I just don't really care to look at when I'm going through the collection. So yeah, the next one here, we have Spider-Man making out with Black Cat, which, I mean, I think we can all agree when I say lucky. But it's okay. One of the better ones that Black Cat shows up again. I know I was kind of making fun of how I traditionally don't like I love the Black Cat covers, but this one's good. Kind of spicy, right? I think it'll go up to B. Bottom of B. I like the spicy nature of it. Because whenever that happens too, you know the storyline's going to be like, the drama is going to be dialed up. When that's on the cover, you can usually be sure, you're like, yeah, something's going to go on in this one. So, yeah. This one I don't like. I don't like the Spider-Man suit. Spider-Man using magic is kind of cool, but I never really liked the concept. Like the whole Captain Universe thing always felt odd to me as well from way back. But yeah, it's okay, but it's not that good. I feel like this one's giving me D vibes. Giving me D vibes quite a bit. We'll go down there. Down there next to the Electro one, I feel like that's fair. This one really reminds me of Superior Spider-Man a lot with the black eye lenses. It's pretty cool. It's almost like desolate in a weird sort of way, if that makes sense. Oh, something's crawling on me, speaking of spiders. Either that or my pants are just interacting with my leg hair is weird. That was strange. I wonder if something was crawling on me or not. Anyway, completely random. Honestly, is this an A tier? I really like it. Yeah, I think it'll go A. With the other just solo Spider-Man ones that we have lined in the bottom of A there, I really like it. Spider-Man just has a very interesting presence in this cover. Like you can very feel I know I've used the word aura already once in this video, but you really can feel the aura exuding off of him in that cover, which I feel like vibes covers give you. They're sort of like half the battle sometimes, you know? And right to one I hate. This one's ugly. Like, sometimes I don't know how much commentary to give on this because I legitimately just think this is ugly with the character choices on this. Yeah, F tier. Above the Dr. Ock one because those ones are very like obnoxiously ugly, but still pretty down there in the dumps. This one again, it's a Doc Doom thing. It's interesting because the way he's holding Spider-Man, but I don't know. Every time Doc Ock's in a Spider-Man cover, it feels sort of like a worse version of the Black Cat thing. I almost always dislike it. Maybe I dislike Dr. Doom more than I think, but you know. Could just be the general color scheme or the story going on that's influencing my thought. I don't know. This feels like a D tier to me though. There's so many D tiers. There's so many that I just lean towards disliking. Which is weird because I hyped up how I thought a lot of these covers are going to be pretty good going into this, but I don't know, when you really scrutinize them, opinions change pretty quickly. I'll put it up though. It feels like it deserves a higher D because a lot of these in D I like less than that one, even though I don't like this one that much. And this actually went relatively quickly. What, that was 70 issues, and at the time of recording, it's like almost 40 minutes. It took me an hour and a half to get through Nick Spencer. I probably had more commentary to give through each of those covers. A lot of the ones this time around, it's just like, I don't know, a lot of them had this like simplistic beauty to them. It was either executed really well or it wasn't executed that well. I also am not that attached to the story on this time, so I don't have a lot of like the interrupting conversations to talk about elements outside of the design because a lot of what happened in this run was just very forgettable, if not actively dislikable. Sorry to the writers of this run. It's really just, I feel like I didn't like the baseline concept, and when you dislike the concept, that often trickles down to the other facets of the run. I just think a lot of the main macro ideas for the story of this particular run I didn't like, which makes me really dislike the run as a whole. Yes, that's why you hear me crapping on it a lot. All that to say, we're finally on the last cover, and it shows a weird Juggernaut Spider-Man thing. It's so weird, especially to be the last note of Volume 6. I feel like Marvel's been making strange decisions as to what capstones their volumes recently. They definitely have cared more about the dramatic like entries for the end of story arcs and author runs, but there's something's going on with the volume listings. Again, I feel like the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man should not have been incorporated in Volume 6 and should have been its own separate named event, like they did with Dark Web. Those covers aren't like, we had the Dark Web Spider-Man tie-in covers, but Dark Web also had its own spin-off like independent event miniseries that they do for a lot of the bigger deal events. Dark Web didn't even end up being that big of a deal in my opinion. But again, I feel like 8 Deaths should have been that because there's a good amount of issues in it and it feels so different from the tone and the crap that was just happening. Again, it feels like a miniature version of what happened with Beyond to Nick Spencer's arc, right? I really don't like it when Marvel does that. I feel like out of theme things meshed together in one volume, and I really just feel like we should have either moved on to the next volume or had that weird, like obviously transitional intermission type stories be their own little mini events to bridge the gaps. But yeah, that aside, I just don't like the cover. It's going to be an F tier. It's going to be above a lot of them, but I really dislike it. Um, it's just interesting to see the different like form of Spider-Man. Like it is interesting whenever that happens. It just yeah, usually ends up not looking pretty good as it did in this scenario. But yeah, guys, that is all of the covers ranked for their art and design for the Amazing Spider-Man Volume 6 mainline comic book series. Let me know if you want more of these, if you enjoyed. If you haven't watched the previous episodes, go watch the other two where I do the volume 5, sort of broken into two parts because it was so big. One with the Nick Spencer saga, the other being the Beyond arc. Now this is the entirety of volume 6. Volume 7 is currently underway, so we're going to have to pretty much backtrack from here if we're going to do more cover art, but I would definitely do events like Spider-Geddon. Some of the smaller events like Dark Web we were mentioning, like do an allotment of smaller events kind of just meshed together. Um, yeah, and I might even do some cover art for other series like adjacent to Spider-Man, like Venom and stuff. Maybe even an Avengers series here and there, some of the other ones I've read in my time. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. This has been Lauren T. Hopefully, I'll have Legendet join me soon. I know it's been a while since she's been able to join the podcast. I've kind of just been doing my solo episodes here. But, yeah, if just I don't have much to say. Just subscribe if you're new. Keep watching if you're old. Or, well, that came out weird. You know what I mean.